Yeah.
Morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. Thank you, Tom. Our invocation this morning is by Jim Young.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome this crisp December morning. I'm going to read a little, as we're in the season, a toast to Christmas past, and then a little short prayer. So let us pray. Let's tip a glass to Christmas past and times we held so dear. For now's the time to reminisce and sip a bit of cheer. Dwell not on sorrows in our lives, but raise our spirits high. Though cherished ones may go their way, their memories never die. Give prayer for virtues that we have, forget the ones we lack. Keep our sights on future goals and failure at our back. Make a vow to treasured friends to always keep in touch. The ones we take for granted are the ones that mean so much. Live our lives as best we can, that peers may one day say, we left the world a better place because we passed this way. May the quiet joys of this gentle season fill our hearts with peace. Amen. May everyone have a happy and safe holiday.
Thank you, Jim. And lead us in the pledge and four-way test, Ben Rexroad.
Good morning. Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will build goodwill and better friendships. And fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you.
And we have a guest today from the Akron Rotary, Jim Redmond. Good morning.
All right, number 3, this is a Fantasy Camp 2010. And first of all, we're going to break tradition and sort of get the business out of the way after our guest speaker today is Bob DiBiasio, Senior VP Public Affairs of the Cleveland Guardians. Welcome, and you can't believe how grateful we are because he has really stepped it up. He's got a big event that he's going to explain to you today. And I'm not going to give you too much of his biography because you know it already, but please give a warm Rotarian welcome to Bob DiBiasio.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Hello, everybody. Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to switch up the rotation today. I do have a wonderful day in store. I'm having to get out of here a little bit early as I'm headed to Washington, D.C. this morning at 3 o'clock at the U.S. Capitol. Larry Doby is receiving the Congressional Gold Medal. And I was asked to participate from his son, Larry Doby Jr., and his sisters have asked that I join the family in the ceremony today. So I have a 10:33 flight to Reagan International, so I have to be on the highway here shortly to make sure I get there. So those of you who may not know the Congressional Gold Medal, there are 2 honors that a civilian can receive from the government. The two highest honors are the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Gold Medal. And so as a representative of the Cleveland Guardians organization, we're incredibly proud that our guy, Larry Doby, for all that he did, a member of the U.S. Navy, you know, right in the heart of his baseball career, like many baseball players did, he put it on hold in service of his country, again, as a member of the U.S. Navy, and also breaking barriers in the game of baseball when he obviously integrated the American League just 11 weeks after Jackie Robinson integrated the National League and Major League Baseball. What I thought I would do today is just give you a little sense of what's going on down at our ballpark with all the renovations that are coming. Some will be ready at the start of 2024, others not until opening day 2025. Those of you who might have driven downtown for a concert, a play, a Cavs game, driving by our facility, see, you know, 2-3 cranes, the upper deck is blown away. It's not there anymore. Those cargo boxes in right field are gone. The Terrace Club is gone. Lots happening. So I thought that we would I have a little video that I'm going to talk over as we go through it. So if we could start the video, please. We're calling it Progressive Field Reimagined. We're the 11th oldest ballpark in the country right now, believe it or not, going into our 31st year. And it was time for us to really take a look and do some wonderful new things, especially to the upper deck. We haven't touched the upper deck just slightly over 30 years, and we need to give that area some great attention. Could you pause it here just for a second, please? Thank you. Those of you who are familiar with our facility know the glass triangles that are up there in left field that when you enter Terrace Club. The Terrace Club will be closed throughout the entire 2024 season, unfortunately, as we create this whole new look and feel. Our guys are in the midst of trying to figure out if we're going to do this as an all-inclusive ticket, that you buy a ticket to this area and it includes your food and beverage. But as you can see, there's pods here. There'll be heaters inside and up high to keep people comfortable. It'll be out in the open air. And again, just more of the social gathering spots. When we went to our architects and said, what are you building around the world in the new arenas, stadiums, ballparks? And it all circles back to social gathering spots. The younger generation doesn't want to come to a ball game and sit in the seat and only talk to the person to their left and the person to their right. They want to move. They want to hang with their friends. They want to come as a group. And so we needed to address that issue. Never did I think in all my years, this is year number 45 for me with our ball club, 46 in Major League Baseball. And never did I think we'd ever sell a ticket that didn't have a section number, a row number, or a seat number. And when we built the corner bar area, it became so very popular. So you can roll the video, please. So you can see what this area is going to look like. This will be the back end of it. Again, more social gathering aspects. It's there'll be a stairway and an escalator to the upper deck, which will be a flat surfaced open area. again, where people can connect before and during the game. It's our way one more time to allow people in groups. There'll be, as you just saw, there's seats out front, and then the tables and chairs to be outdoors, have an incredible look of the skyline and Lake Erie as you're taking in our ballpark. We're actually going to have a number of these grab and goes. If you've gotten on an airplane and you've seen them in all the airports where you just walk through and you swipe your card, you go grab what you're doing on your way. So there'll be a number of those. Can you stop it for a sec? This View Box bar. It's going to be a little bar right behind home plate in the upper deck, so people can enjoy the bar scene kind of feel. Again, younger generation, working to make sure that the upper deck has all the amenities that is in the lower bowl. Right now, and in the past few years, people who sat upstairs had to go downstairs if they wanted one of the 13 local restaurants, concession stands, instead of the normal fare for a ball game that we have up there. We had Montgomery Inn barbecue up in the upper deck, but that was really the only specialty. So now with the bar and other concessions that we're going to put up there, it'll be a contained area for their food and beverage, because I don't think anybody walks into a football stadium or walks into a basketball arena and the first thing on their mind is, what am I going to eat today? When you walk into Progressive Field, one of the first things you say is, what am I going to eat today? Am I going to do the nachos? Am I going to have a hot dog? I'm going to do the pulled pork. What am I going to do? And that is something that we really work on. And for those who may want to know, the hot dogs are still the #1 seller. Roll the video. Although the pulled pork nachos from Momocho are a close second. They come in that helmet and they're massive and people love it. So up here in right field, could you pause for a second? Up here in right field, this will be ready for opening day 2024. One of the things that we really have struggled with in this building has been group sales, has been group outings for large group outings. So all the major companies, Progressive, et cetera, want 1,000 people coming to the ball game, get their employees with their families together for an entertainment day. And we just had difficulty taking care of them. So we had to spread it out over the course of 4 or 5 games. Up here, this is where all the cargo boxes were. This whole area is going all the way back to East 9th. And so we'll be able to handle large group outings. Roll the video, please. And you'll see the seats there in front of it, but the picnic tables, and again, a great view of downtown and Lake Erie from the upper deck there. That's really going to help us. The Dugout Club, it's going to be a redesign of, if you could stop it here, pause it, thank you. Right now, we were one of the first ballparks to put 10 suites right behind home plate. They're actually closer to the pitcher than the hitter. Pitcher is 60 feet, 6 inches from home plate. Our dugout suites are 55 feet from home plate, so actually closer than the pitcher is to the hitter. The concept has changed. We heard from people that, again, as you look at this, what we're trying to do is take care of all the different pocketbooks. There's people who really want luxury when they come to a ball game and can afford it. This is the way they want to spend their money and then their entertainment dollar. There's others who just want to sit in a seat and enjoy and go to the concession stand. So, and 5-year-olds to 95-year-olds. So we have a large bandwidth of people, not just age-wise, but pocketbook-wise, that we need to take care of. Plus, if we want to continue to keep our ticket prices at a minimum as low as we can and still have a competitive baseball team on the field, we need to generate revenue in real estate around the ballpark, which is why we're doing most of this, is so that they're underserved areas. Like the Terrace Club used to be the biggest thing in Cleveland. It was the most sought after restaurant to get into when it opened. We actually had two seatings, if you can imagine. We'd play at 7:10. There'd be a 5:10 sitting, and then you went to your seat. You had to be a season ticket holder to have a membership, which you had to pay extra for back in the opening days. And then there was a sitting at 7:10. Again, it was one of the hardest restaurants to get into in the city of Cleveland for the first 10 years of this building. And then it slowly went away in terms of its value. So that's why we are really attacking the left field area. And this area, roll the video, this area, instead of having the individual suites, there'll be seats out front that you'll see when you watch people on the game. But instead of going back in your own individual suite, you're going to go into this big club. People will have opportunities for smaller groups like that, but the majority of it will be a big club area. Again, we're listening to our fans when they tell us what they're looking for. Over here on East 9th Street, all the way, again, if you've driven downtown, you'll see that this is starting. Can you pause it for 1 second? Just those of you who have lived in your home for 30 years, you've probably renovated your kitchen, right? Well, we needed to renovate our kitchen, and we feed 35,000 people. So when we worked with Delaware North, their kitchen was underneath left field, way down by the foul pole in left field. Underground was their commissary where they prepared everything. They needed new and better. And so we put them over on right field on East 9th Street. So above the top is where that group outing area is. That's why we've opened it all the way back to East 9th Street, because we needed all this area to have a brand new kitchen. Roll the video, please. We're also going to take care of our players. We're going to get a whole new clubhouse. I can't imagine guys are going to need a mat to walk around that place. Yeah, it's going to be massive. Our office buildings, could you stop for 1 sec? We had to move out of our offices on December 1st. When I first started in 1979 with the ball club, there were 22 of us in the entire front office. We have 181 in that building, and we're overflowing. We're running into each other. So part of the renovations is redoing our office building. We're going to add a 5th floor, and on by December 1st, all of us had to be out of the office. We won't step foot in there until March of 2025. We've rented space downtown for those who need, like our baseball operations department needs to be together every day. Certain business people and the finance people need to have an office structure. Most departments have a 1 or 2 day come downtown and hang in the conference room and connect with one another. Otherwise, we're all working from home, which we're familiar with, until March of 2025. It's going to be interesting. We put it in the hands of the young people in our organization as to how do they want the office to look and feel. and how to be more productive and efficient. And we went to designers and architects saying, what are you building in office buildings these days? So the open floor plan, no more cubicles where people are hiding. There'll be a cafe in the center of every floor with a counter so people can connect. And that's the whole idea with 181 people, is people can go from floor to floor and find a workspace and get to know everybody. You walk through the building, and a guy like myself, who again has been there at this place since day one, it took me a long time to clean 30 years of stuff out of my office. The things I found were unbelievable. It actually took Slider's van, a pickup truck, and 3 guys from our operations department to deliver everything to my house. And I made sure my wife wasn't home when that showed up, because we took it right down the basement. But then when she went down the basement, she's like, I thought you threw a bunch of stuff away. I said, yeah, but these 30 boxes I couldn't, crazy. But I took my desk and my chair and everything into my home office. So run the video, but that's part of the process as well. So we're very excited over the next year or two that we are going to do a nice facelift, a progressive field reimagined, provide people with the kind of major league experience they deserve in our town. In a blink of an eye, 30 years have gone by in this beautiful ballpark. But again, we're the 11th oldest ballpark in America. And it was time for us. And if you're wondering how the finances of this is happening, that the state and the county, and that's it, young man. So we're good there. Can you make sure I get that back on my way out when I run out? Thank you. The state, the county, the city, and the Dolan family are all chipping in to pay for all the renovations that are happening at the ballpark. So let's talk a little bit baseball. We had some things we needed to accomplish this year that one, we weren't familiar with for a decade or so, and that was to find a manager. And unfortunately, Tito got to the point where he really realized that with his health that he needed to step away from the game. Being a manager, I think it was 22 years out of the past 23, had 1 year away from the game when he got let go by the Red Sox. It beats you up, the stress, especially for a guy that, had 6, 7 knee surgeries and has circulatory issues and other ailments that we all knew he was missing a collection of games throughout the past couple of years. And he just felt it was time for him to go take care of himself. And all of us, just kept telling him, we know how difficult a decision that was, but you had to go take care of yourself, go get healthy. And he would just look at us and say, I need a nap. And we're like, you do. And I'm hoping that nap is at least 2 years long. Will he resurface somewhere, someplace? Well, when you see Ron Washington at 71 years old get a managerial job with the LA Angels, and Bruce Bochy, older than Tito, come back and manage the Texas Rangers to a World Series championship, he may feel it inside that it's time, but that we will wait and see on that. But right now, he needed to go take care of himself. On the last home game, we're sitting in the dugout. I was showing Mike Sarbaugh, Sarby and myself, Tito, and a few. We played a number rounds of golf together over the course of the last 11 years. And so I was showing Sarby, one of my college buddies, there's another, our man from Akron's another Ohio Wes, there he is, another Ohio Wesleyan guy. But one of my Ohio Wesleyan buddies was at Ballybunion, and he sent me a picture of his caddy. And his caddy had a Chief Wahoo hat on. He goes, well, what are the odds that this guy is my caddy for the day? So I was just showing Sarby, and Tito walks over and I showed it to him. He goes, oh, I'm going there in June. And I thought to myself, good for you. You've already decided how you're going to enjoy being away from the game. Because one of the hardest things for a baseball player is to be told you're no longer wanted. At least Tito was able to determine his fate by himself. We're going to miss him terribly. He's a remarkable guy. But I did an interview with Bill Wills the other day about Stephen Vogt, our new manager. We went 180 degrees. Tito, 64 years old, and Stephen Vogt's 39. Never managed before. So we went 180 degree difference. We went young and inexperienced from an old and experienced guy. But after the interview with Bill Wills, talking about having met and dealt with Stephen thus far, I find him incredibly engaging. He has that presence that you look for a guy that's going to walk in and be a leader of a team. There's just something about that job that you absolutely have to have some sort of aura about you. And he has that. Whatever it is, he has it. And I told Bill afterwards, during a commercial we were talking, I said, I think I just cheated on Tito. I felt bad because I'm talking how awesome this guy is. And I cheated on our man Tito, who we've loved for all these years. And a guy like me, I've known Tito since, well, I knew his dad before I knew the young, Tito. And so it's been fun seeing our guys put together an incredible coaching staff of young people. So it's going to be a whole new vibe. What I thought our guys did remarkably was to add to the coaching staff a number of guys from our farm system who coached and managed in our minor leagues. So they've coached and managed all these kids that are on our team. We're still the youngest team in baseball, not only in 2022, but we were in 2023. And so there's a familiarity there. So when we get to spring training, it isn't you're going to have to wear a hello, my name is badge. Everybody knows who everybody is. And then keeping Sandy and Carl Willis and our hitting coach was pretty important. So we clicked off the most important one. We got the skipper that our guys were looking for. We needed to address the bullpen. We had 58 one-run games last year. 58 one-run games. We lost 14 more one-run games in 2023 than we did in 2022. Offensively, we struggled. We went from middle of the pack to the end of the pack. Offensively, that had something to do with it. The bullpen struggled a little bit because we were in so many one-run games. Just rolling the dice, you're not going to have the success rate because you've had so many of those. So we added Scott Barlow to our club, acquired him from the San Diego Padres. And he's a guy that was a closer for Kansas City. He's had 50 plus saves the last 3 years. He was 13 of 16 in save situations last year with Kansas City and San Diego. So he can pitch at the back end of the bullpen with Emmanuel Clase. Those of you who are baseball fans, I don't know how you would vote. The curious case of Emmanuel Clase last year. He was the only man in baseball with 40 plus saves. He had 44 saves. The next guy had 39 in all of baseball. So for 2 years in a row, he's had more saves than anybody in baseball. Been the best closer in baseball. Last year, he also had 12 blown saves, which were the most in baseball. So it was a very difficult, odd year for Emmanuel. But for a team that only won, what did we win? 78? I can't remember how many games we won, somewhere in there. He saved 44 of them. Obviously, a pretty darn good year, even with the difficulty. He took the ball 70 plus times 2 years in a row. Remarkable closer, big, strong guy. The oddity of him last year, you say, well, what would cause it? He throws a 99-mile-an-hour cutter, which means the ball slides this way, right to left, right-handed pitcher. Opposing batters hit 100 points higher in 2023 on that pitch than they did in 2022, which was a swing and miss strikeout pitch. Just that one stat made him just be a teeny bit off. So this off season and in spring training, you work on the positioning of the fingers on the ball and getting a little bit more movement, and hopefully he's back being, well, he is a stud, but hopefully not having to get involved in so many one-run games that we had to play last year. Obviously, we lack power. Trying to find offense is the other big item, getting our manager, coaching staff, fixing the back end of the bullpen. We may not be done with that. And then finding offensively, how do we score more runs? And it's not just finding one power hitter and putting him in right field. That's not the easiest thing to do, to find that one guy. They're working on trading. They're looking at free agents. We're looking at internal. We have some great internal candidates from our farm system that you'll hear and read about as the spring training gets closer. But we feel good about who we are. The Minnesota Twins, who beat us out for first place, they lost their two best starting pitchers, and to free agency. We think we're going to be right in the mix of winning our division once again. We're confident in the team that we're going to put on the field. Even last year, Josh Naylor missed the whole month of August. And Josh Naylor was one of the hottest hitters in baseball. He had 97 RBIs last year and didn't play 30-some games. So what if he would have been hot in the month of August when his little brother was starting to find it behind home plate, hitting 330 and hitting homers and driving in runs after his first 30 games in the big leagues, where he struggled like crazy, as most kids do. We put so much pressure on Bo Naylor to be a rookie catcher. You've got to command a pitching staff. You got to limit the running game when the rules changed in the game of baseball for running and stolen bases. And then you ask him to hit. And so the first month wasn't an easy adjustment. But then the second month, he was terrific. We just felt that when Josh went down, that the offense obviously was going to be hurt, and we just weren't able to have anybody else step up. We need to do a little bit better in our hitting with runners in scoring position. Andres Jimenez, who's the best second baseman in baseball defensively, and in 2022 offensively, needs to get back and be a contributor to us scoring runs. So that's the third thing we need to focus on as we get closer to opening day. A couple things, and then we'll open it up to questions real quick. The rule changes. I really thought the commissioner of baseball should have been given the Sporting News Executive of the Year award. Every rule change that was put in place in baseball last year for pace of play, the pitch clock, the larger bases, which created more stolen bases and more action on the bases, the limited shift couldn't play softball in the game of baseball anymore and have a guy sitting in the middle of right field. So a guy hits a line drive and it's a one hop to short right field and he gets thrown out at first base. To eliminate that, batting averages did go up, runs scored went up. The time of game shrunk by almost a half an hour. Universally applauded every rule change in the game. And so I thought the commissioner and his competition committee did a remarkable job because our game was going ugly for the last previous 10, 12 years, when all it was strikeouts, home runs, or walks. And we've changed that. So the players are more athletic. They have to be, and it's a much better product. So we look forward to opening up on Monday, April 8th. For those of you who know what's going on that day, anybody know what's going on Monday, April 8th? The solar eclipse. We're not sure what time our game is because the solar eclipse should come over the city of Cleveland at 3:00. And we're not sure. We're working with the city, trying to figure out what time our game should be, because they're thinking there'll be 100,000, 150,000 people come downtown, all to be together to watch it go over Lake Erie. As I know more about this than I need to, but I guess Avon Lake is going to be the peak place for it. It's coming over Mexico, through Texas, across our country on an arc, and coming over Cleveland at 3:00. Whether or not we're going to give out the glasses and have people in the ballpark and, you know, have that old picture like we saw in the 1950s with people in the movie theater everywhere, doing one of those. So we're in the midst of trying to figure out what time our game's going to be on Monday, April 8th. So with that, let's open it up to a few, as we've got a few minutes here before I got to bolt to DC. If somebody wants to ask a question about what we're all about.
I've got one.
Yes, sir.
First of all, thanks for coming. This is my my highlight meeting of the year. So I really appreciate you being here. And I mean that sincerely.
Thank you.
And besides being a priest, I think your job would probably be my next favorite job to have. Oscar Gonzalez,
Yes.
tell me about it.
Well, we've had him 9 years. Oscar's been in our system 9 years, or was in our system. So obviously our guys know him very well. Oscar's a big, strong guy that had some remarkable hits for us, especially the homer off Corey Kluber to clinch the first round of the postseason in 2022. That 15-inning game, that was just remarkable. Incredible pitching by both clubs in both games. But a lot of swing and miss. And our guys are just built the way our baseball operations and analytics department is built. Our hitting coach and approach is put the bat on the ball and swing at strikes. Pretty simple. We teach your little leaguers. Swing at strikes. Baseball needs to be reduced to simple things, especially for hitters. Especially for hitters nowadays, when guys are throwing 100 miles an hour, 99-mile-an-hour cutters, sinkers that are 95 and moving. Can't have a lot of swing and miss. And there's only 40 men on the 40-man roster that you can protect. And we felt there were some youngsters, the Carl Manzardos that you're going to hear about, the Chase DeLauders you're going to hear about, some of our top draft picks and people we acquired through trade. We just felt leapfrog Oscar. So, yeah, it was tough because he had a couple great at-bats for us. Yeah. And his walk-up song SpongeBob SquarePants was a hit with our younger crowd.
Thank you, Bob, for coming to speak today.
Thank you.
And I know you're not in charge of hiring, but I'm just asking this question. Sandy Elmar's been with us forever and a day.
Yes.
So I'm sure this young guy, a lot of energy,
Yep.
going to be a great coach and all that. Why does Sandy keep getting skipped over for a manager position?
Well, that's a good question. 11 years ago, well, let's go back probably 13 years ago. Sandy did interview with a number of ball clubs as the skipper, and he didn't get any jobs. And Sandy and Tito ended up being the final two at our place for the 2013 season. And Sandy actually went to Chris Antonetti and said, "You got a chance to get Tito here to be our manager?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's real," because he saw it in the paper. And he goes, "Well, you got to hire him. You don't hire me. You got to hire him. I'd love to work for Tito. I love what I do. My day may come to be a manager." 11 years later, he has no interest in being a manager. He has no interest. He loves his life. He loves his role with us as first base coach, and catching coach, and that want in his life just disappeared. So, yeah.
Thanks again for being here. We all appreciate it and
Thank
enjoy
you
it.
for wearing your Guardians.
Number one fan. But I've taken my granddaughters a few times to the games this year,
Yes.
and the one player they love and they knew about was Stephen Kwan.
Yes.
That the publicity that he gets for being off the field and doing things with the schools, that gets around, and the kids really enjoy that.
Yeah.
They really enjoy it.
Steven's one of the best left fielders in the game of baseball. He just doesn't hit a lot of home runs, so people don't look at him as a valuable player, but he's a Gold Glover, two-time Gold Glover in the 2 years he's been around. He's a dynamic leadoff hitter. Needs to put the bat on the ball a little more regular and he knows that. But one of the comments that she referenced off the field, one of the funnest things that happened is Steven is a chess player. So in spring training, he plays chess every morning. In 2022, his first big league spring training, he's playing chess. And one of our community relations people viewed this and went up to him and said, "So you're really into chess, right? Can we think about doing something with a local high school in Cleveland with chess?" He goes, "Yeah, I'd love it." Well, lo and behold, John Marshall High School has a nationally renowned chess program. They're in the top 10 in the country. And so we brought them down, and Austin Hedges, who's back with us, Stephen Kwan, and I can't remember who the third. We set up 3 chess boards, and the chess club of John Marshall played against Kwan and these guys. And funniest thing in the world, this little girl, 9th grader, she's no bigger than this. And she whips through Austin Hedges on the chessboard, just whips through him. And the media were there covering it, and the reporter goes up to her and says, "So when did you think you had him?" And in this squeaky voice, she goes, "Well, when he sat down." It's just so odd. And Austin's like, "What the hell?" God almighty. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks again for coming.
Yes,
Appreciate it. Chances Bieber will be in a Guardians uniform.
You know, I would have answered that last year saying that he probably wasn't going to finish the season, but then he got hurt. And so obviously trade value dips. People are looking and searching. That's one thing. We don't need to look for a closer. While we could always maybe use a veteran starter, our starting rotation is in pretty good hands. When you lose 3 out of your 5 starting pitchers to injury, and 3 kids come up to the minors and do things that a trio of pitchers hadn't done in more than a dozen years in the big leagues combined, It's pretty remarkable. We know how to produce pitchers. Our guys are remarkable at that. And so teams looking for pitching. One thing I can tell you about our guys, they don't sell short. We're not going to give Shane Bieber away unless we get exactly what we want in return. But being in his free agent year, there's going to be that consistent talk about that for sure. Yes.
Again, thanks for coming. It's
Yeah.
always so informative. Two questions. One is, so we have the number one pick. I'm just curious, over the past so many years, how important has a top pick really been for a team? And then another question, when the Savannah Bananas have kind of
Yes.
completely changed the fabric of local baseball,
Right.
any lessons that Major League would take from them?
Let's answer the first one. Well, no, I'll do the Savannah Bananas first. It's funny. The guy that owns the Savannah Bananas, you heard of him a couple years ago when he first began talking about how I guarantee you the people in Major League Baseball hate me. And I thought to myself, why would you think that? I mean, this is minor league baseball at its finest. That's the difference between us. Ours is a pretty serious business. We just gave $700 million to a ball player. So we take our business seriously. So we can't dance on the field. It's not, there's a seriousness to being a big leaguer, but baseball should be fun. And what you're doing is remarkable. And they're actually coming to Progressive Field this year. We have nothing to do with it. We're on the road. They're just like a concert. When Billy Joel comes to our ballpark, we have a management agreement with Billy Joel's people that, come into our facility, do your show. We'll make X amount of money. You make X amount of money and all is good. It's the same thing with the Savannah Bananas. They are now doing the big league ballpark tour, which I think is terrific. So in terms of learning anything from them, we work hard every day trying our live entertainment group to put on the best show possible and understanding there's the serious nature to what we do every day. Guys' livelihoods and such out on that field. As far as the number one draft pick, this young man that we're going to draft number one from high school or college will probably make between $8 and $10 million for being the number one draft pick. I always remember Ray Fossey, our old catcher in 1965, was sitting in math class at his high school in Illinois, and the phone in the classroom rings. And the teacher goes over, answers it, hangs up, looks at Ray and said, "Hey, you're wanted in the principal's office." Some of the people in the room knew it was draft day. Others thought he was in trouble. So they're like, "Ooh, you got to go to the principal's office." And he's walking down the hallway and the principal's got the scout from the Cleveland Indians on the phone saying, "We just drafted you, young man. You're a Cleveland Indian." And the principal put it on the PA as he's walking down, all the classrooms unloaded in the hallway. And I think he got $15,000. So a little bit different since the first draft. The reason the Baltimore Orioles are good last year, they were drafted in the top 3 for 7 years in a row, if not more, because they were horrible, winning or losing 100 games year after year after year after year, and they were getting the top draft picks. So more often than not, you hit it in baseball. Now, will they be superstars? The one thing about this draft, there's no Ken Griffey Jr. There's no Alex Rodriguez. There's no Roger Clemens, is what they're saying, is there's no clear-cut superstar Barry Bonds kind of player that is an automatic. But we'll do our due diligence and find the right kid, the right character. There's a first baseman out of Wake Forest who's 6'5", 240, big power hitter. The number one pick that you look at MLB.com and The Athletic, there's a second baseman from West Virginia. It's like, we don't need another second baseman in our system. So there's a couple pitchers out there as well. So it'll be interesting to see. You can't trade the pick. You can't do those things that are social media in Cleveland. The moment we got it, you know, all the negative Nellies out there that, you know, oh, they'll just trade the draft pick. Well, you can't. So educate yourself about our game before you say things like that. One more before I have to go catch a plane. Yes, sir.
Last but not least, Bob.
Yeah.
These college players, are they getting paid now? You know, under the.
Some are, and the SEC college baseball, like in Starkville, Mississippi, those places, their ballparks are 10, 12,000. They pack them every day. It's remarkable. The Pac-12, the SEC, the ACC, it's bigger than minor league baseball. And so those kids have a chance to sign the NIL or whatever it's called these days, which is pretty remarkable. You know, the kid from Ohio State, the quarterback, you know, he goes into the portal and is looking for more money. And it's just college athletics is in a whole different world.
I don't mean to keep you up.
One more.
That's really exciting stuff about the stadium, I think.
Yeah,
And
the
how-
renovations that we have rolling, people are gonna love it. They're gonna absolutely, you know, this is done for their, you know, our fans' enjoyment and for us to be able to continue to present Major League Baseball in the way it should be, and also to generate some revenue because we can only keep our ticket prices at a certain level for our market size.
How does it affect capacity?
Capacity is not going to change much more than a 500 here or there. And again, because in the upper deck with group outings, you'll get more people who can stand and move around and hang out than you can sitting in a seat. So it's not, we're not reducing the footprint, the capacity of, you know, I think 35,000 is big enough. I just read that the Oakland A's moving to Las Vegas, that they're building a ballpark that only has 30,000 seats. Because where your revenue is generated will be television streaming. We didn't even get into that. Our whole TV issue is still up in the air and who knows what's going on with that. But down the road, the streaming of games and those sorts of things. Be interesting to hear from people. Would you be willing to spend $162 a year to get every game in some service? So you're paying $1 to watch a game every night. Over the course, it's $162 over the course of 6 months. Seems pretty reasonable. Those are the kind of things that we talked about decades ago about pay-per-view with baseball and cable and paying for it and all this sort of thing. Who knows how that's coming? But we're dealing with a company that's bankrupt, or at least went to bankruptcy. And so we'll see how all that ends up. But always a treat. Thank you again for letting me jump in on the rotation this morning, since I've got some fun things to do today at the U.S. Capitol. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One of the most enjoyable meetings we have in the year. I think we would all agree. Okay, so now let me see if I can keep us all in order here because things are out of order. So anyway, welcome Rotarians. We do have a quick board director's meeting after the meeting today. So please, anybody is welcome to come, and especially our board members, please be there. This month, we're collecting for the Treehouse in Bedford. They are looking for very practical items: toilet paper, Clorox wipes, paper towels, as listed in your weekly notice here. Hand sanitizer, they need that. Gina Vonville and Jimmy Cosman over at the high school are asking for our help. They are also part of the service learning group. And they are starting to recruit volunteers for their random act of kindness presentations, which are to be held on Tuesday and Wednesday, January 16th and 17th. There's a link in your quick link for that Maryland suite. There's a link there for you to go and do an electronic sign up if you could help with that. And again, it's a really enjoyable experience. If you've never done it, you should try it. It's very fun to watch the kids. They're great. And similar to the other, our speeches that we do and stuff. It's really a great experience, and they need us. They need us to be audiences for them and judges and stuff. So go ahead and take a look at that. Their goal is to have at least 3 people sign up for each of their presentations. So please take a look at that. I think that's it for us. Kelly, you wanted to say a few words? I hope everybody got their flowers delivered last week. Oh, sorry. That was lovely. Thank you. Kelly, who put that together? Did you do that? Oh, he's in the back. That was beautiful. Did you do that whole presentation? Did you put that together? That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. When was the Santa on the clock tower like that? I've lived here 44 years. I don't ever remember a Santa being up there. Does anybody know when that was? Had to be the 50s, I guess, huh? Interesting. That was cool. Did you want to say something?
Yes, but I didn't want to interrupt. Jim Redmond is here from the Akron Club and also representing the event in February. Chili Open. At a chilly moment. And then also, he would like to talk just for 2 seconds. And then I also like to let everybody know, for those people that haven't paid yet for the flowers or their donations, please give a check to Doug Rye for what you owe. And if you don't know what you owe, I have the list today. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rich.
Yeah.
TV, yeah, ready. It's my first time. First time doing this after 34 years. We're having our 34th annual Chili Open coming up on February 3rd out at Hale Farm and Village. Just a reminder, we call it the Akron Rotary Camp, but it's really Northeast Ohio's Rotary Camp. I mean, the kids come from Summit County, Cuyahoga County. What's interesting, January 1st, 100th anniversary of the camp. Camp was founded by a gentleman, Walter Hoyt, who was an orthopedic surgeon, Akron Bone Doctors, the predecessors of Crystal Clinic, and Rotarian Hez Simmons, Akron U's president in 1924, kids with polio. So 100 years. So we're trying to enjoy that energy of having the camp be 100 years old. The Chili Open 34th annual obviously powers the camp. 100% of it goes to operating, and we're going to try to raise about 400,000 this year. So thanks again for seeing everybody, and great piece. February 3rd, I have some, because I probably won't see you between now and the Chili Open unless you come out and see us that day. I do have some shameless $20 tickets. Vanderveer does give away a car that day. We do sell about $60,000 worth of these sexy tickets that have a number of prizes. So see me if you would like to buy one on the way out. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you. All right, welcome to our guest this week, Marcos. I see you're back with us. Good to see you again. Okay, Rotabuck, $12 this week. You want to come up and pick a number, Ron? I think you can get away with it. Oop. Thank you. Okay, the big winner. Oh, Ron, you gave me 2. Take one. Pull one. You gave me 2. All right, the big winner, 924636. 636. Now, oh, is this 2 weeks in a row?
After 24 years.
You must be living right. You better go buy lottery tickets today. Perfect. Great. Okay. Yeah. Is it really? Oh. Okay, not today. Okay. All right. If we have no other business, then I will see all of you who are available at the Board of Directors meeting. Have a good week.